Hi, Kevin, Property Soldier here. Thought I'd do a quick video today on capital allowances. Now, there are lots of reasons why you should definitely seriously consider investing in serviced accommodation or get involved in serviced accommodation, and capital allowances are a really big reason and a really good incentive for doing serviced accommodation. So what are capital allowances? Well, they are tax-free money is what capital allowances are. Just to explain then, when you start using property as serviced accommodation, then you can claim capital allowances, and for most situations that is the capital allowances that apply to furnished holiday let property. So once a property qualifies under the furnished holiday let qualifying criteria, then you can claim capital allowances. So roughly that's about 7 months of being live as serviced accommodation. And so what then happens is you get a capital allowance surveyor to go into the property. Initially you can get a desktop survey, but after that go to the property and work out all the plant and machinery that are in use for serviced accommodation. So what do I mean by that? Well, the kitchen, the bathroom, the furniture, the wiring system, the fire doors, all of these different things are now classed as plant and machinery. The boiler, all of that's the radiators, all of those things, they are now plant and machinery that are in use for your serviced accommodation property or for your furnished holiday let property. And which is really cool, because all of the plant and machinery, and there's a huge long list that a capital allowance surveyor will look at, the replacement value of all of that plant and machinery will come to your capital allowance claim. Now this typically, in my experience, equates to 30-35% of the value of a property. So there's a certain amount of the capital allowance that you will have acquired when you bought the property, and there's a certain amount of capital allowance that you will be able to claim on based on what you have spent on the property. So it's a percentage of the purchase price and it's a percentage of the refurb that you have spent on it. Now 30-35% of the value of a property, when the capital allowance surveyor goes into it, let's do the maths, that can be an awful lot of capital allowance. So let's just use round numbers now. £100,000 property, you could be looking at a £35,000 capital allowance. Well, what does that mean then? What that means is you can then earn £35,000 tax-free. Okay, £35,000 tax-free. And it ultimately means that your income from your furnished holiday let business, you can earn that tax-free. So that can be a significant tax saving. A lot of people say, well, what happens if you don't use up all those capital allowances in that tax year? That's fine, they roll over. So until you've used up your capital allowances, they will just keep rolling to the following tax year. There's a lot of landlords, a lot of property owners sat on literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of pounds worth of capital allowances, so that ultimately they can be earning that money tax-free. So wherever your tax rate is, personal income tax rate is, that's ultimately the tax you will be saving on your income. And the other really cool part of capital allowances is that if you decide to then sell the property once you've used up your capital allowances, then there's no clawback. You don't have to pay that money back. And also, you could just decide to turn the property into HMO, house of multiple occupation, or you could use it, turn it back to buy to let, or even move into it yourself. And again, there is no clawback once you have used up your capital allowances. So hopefully you found that little video useful. If you've got any other questions about capital allowances, by the way, I'm no expert in capital allowances. I use experts. I use a capital allowance surveyor. I use a qualified accountant. But your accountant is not ultimately qualified to do your capital allowance. Your accountant might well be able to help you with claiming capital allowances on furniture and things like that. But you definitely need an expert who would typically go to the property and look at everything in the property in close detail as to what qualifies for capital allowances or the plant and machinery actually in the property, like the wiring system and things like that. Can't be done from a desk. So definitely get a qualified capital allowance surveyor to do your capital allowance. And if your capital allowance surveyor comes up with drastically less than what I've just said, then he or she might not be the best capital allowance surveyor for you, because I've kissed a lot of frogs and I know that there are good and bad in every single profession. Now, I've just arrived at the post office, so I'm going to be posting a letter. So if you've got anything else that you want to know about capital allowances, then tag me in this post, ask a question, and I'll do my best to help you on capital allowance. Here's to your success in service accommodation, everyone.